as a man, watching porn will have an effect on your dating life. Now, how does this affect your brain, your body, and your ability to communicate with the girls that you find attractive in your life? Well, I'm gonna share about how I went through the different stages in my life, from feeling ashamed about my desire for sex, for women, for porn, up until today where I'm creating a video about it. So it all started. Well, I started watching porn in my teenagers. And it was the typical watching something online quickly before my mother would come home from work. And it would be this stressful, kind of secretive thing. And I do remember the first couple of times I also watched with a couple of friends, so we would also talk about it. But I remember right after finishing watching, I would feel so ashamed. And then for the next years in my teenage years, I wouldn't really talk about it with my friends. And it just grew into this secret thing. So I got this feeling that it is bad, it is wrong. Not only porn, but masturbation and my want, my desire for girls in my life. And then when I went to university, I came across two things at the same time. One of them, actually three things. It was self-help books, it was NoFap, and it was also Pickup. The book, The Game, about how to use techniques and stuff like that to get women to like you? Well, I read that and some other stuff. And so now I wanted to approach women, I want to have sex with women. I'd recently lost my virginity, and I couldn't have porn in my life because I realized that when I didn't watch it, and when I didn't masturbate, and when I didn't come, yes, I'm gonna use a few explicit words in this video, and if that doesn't fit you, then you can click away. I experienced so much more drive to go out, to approach women. I felt a little more confident to actually ask her to come home with me, to go out with me, because it was all of this, early 20s energy that I just wanted, I just really wanted her. And this helped me to overcome many of these obstacles like approach anxiety, fear of rejection, and in the moments where I was thinking, ooh, should I really go for this? Then because I was not watching porn, I was not masturbating, I was not ejaculating, then I was able to do the things and it yielded results. So then for the goal of pursuing girls and for having as much sex as I could, then that worked because it gave me so much drive. And then I got a little older and I started to feel really bad about it. I started to not watch porn because of this drive, because after having sex with girls here and there, I didn't have that same need anymore, and I was exploring something else, and I was sometimes watching porn, and it would take me into these negative spirals because I would think to myself, this is bad, I should not do this. And then I did it, and I would think, wow, I'm bad, I shouldn't have done this. And it took me down these negative spirals where this feeling of not being good enough, of there's something wrong with me, this shame, this guilt just became so strong that I told myself every time, this is the last time, I'm never going to watch it again. And, I would. It would go weeks, months, whatever, and I would go back and, I would go back and forth. And the problem for me was that it wasn't really a problem. It was not like I was watching it, hours a day, but still the times I would feel so low, so down about it. And then more years passed by. I was learning about meditation, about inner work. I had started to become more honest with myself about what I want. And what happened was that I dared, so I found the courage to allow it more, to watch it more, to not doom it like it's something very bad, and if I watch it, I'm bad. Because I would see some of my friends, they were great guys, they would do it. Some others wouldn't. They were also great guys, so I'm like, okay, well, what do I want? And I would watch it, and it was weird, this transition, because I would watch it, and I would like finish watching. I would think like, isn't this bad? Because it was like a question. I wasn't determined that it was bad. And one story which is interesting for me was that I was working, and I had so many thoughts in my mind that said, I just want to watch a little bit of something. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do it. It's bad. But then I said, you know what? I'm very disciplined. Let me just watch 10 minutes. And I did. I watched 10 minutes. I didn't even ejaculate. I just watched it, enjoyed myself for 10 minutes. And then I closed the laptop, and I was like, oh, that was great. I went outside, had a workout, and I felt amazing. And I even told my friend about it. And I told her that, I did this, and it felt rejuvenating. It felt good. It was actually adding to my day. And that's so weird, because I would think that it's this thing that is so bad. But it was not. It was actually helping me. And then I started to really explore more about how it worked for me. And instead of only listening to what other people said, I would experiment. So I would, for example, be on a date with a girl, and because I've told myself I'm not going to watch anything, I'm going to meet a real girl, I would be on a date, and I was feeling that, okay, now I have the opportunity to escalate. But because escalation, for example, telling the girl, hey, let's go for a walk, if you're sitting somewhere and you want to, eventually take her home, because that can feel like a risk of rejection. But because I knew that, well, I'm not going to watch anything at home, so this is the chance, then I said, okay, let's go for a walk, and I would, invite her home. So I learned that, on one hand, not watching it, not having it so readily available, because it is very readily available, it's ridiculous. On one hand, let's just say, being disciplined enough to not utilize it, not watch it, does help me escalate. It does help me take things further with girls. And I think it's because the brain works in a way where it wants to get the reward, but if the reward is not easily available, then it's going to give me more dopamine to do the things that I want to do to get the reward. On the other hand, if I'm avoiding it because I'm thinking that it's bad, then I'll be going out and I'm just thinking about pussy. I'll be just thinking about sex. And I'll be just thinking about how can I have sex instead of actually being present, not only with the girl I would be on a date with or with my friends or when I'm working, but just with myself, just allowing this part of myself to be satisfied without needing to always go out and have sex, but be able to satisfy this without it. And yes, we can use our imagination. That works even better in my experience. It actually works really good. But sometimes I found that, you know what, I'll watch 5 minutes, 10 minutes, this one video, this something which I want to watch because there is a desire. And then as I'm feeling aroused, I would then, close it and continue on with my imagination because this way it felt much better. So the end point of this is that how does it affect the brain and how does it affect the body? Well, when I'm being honest with myself, when I'm really listening to my needs and seeing that, all right, now I do need to watch, I do want this. Okay, then let's give myself that. But if it's from a place of, you know what, I actually want to meet a girl, well, then I'm not going to just do this easy reward thing. I'm rather going to, be like, no, I'm staying disciplined and I'm going out and I'm going to face rejection and I'm going to go for what I really want. Now, to reach this level of balance and honesty, I recommend that you understand more about shame, about how that works in your life, so that when you have the desire to speak with a girl, you can understand why you're not approaching, even if you really want to. So to help you out with that, I wrote a short PDF and you can have it for free. Just click the link down below, write your email, I'm gonna send it to you straight away. And thank you for paying attention and for working on yourself, becoming a better man. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.